Alright, the fourth season of Overlord's wrapping up. I watched the first three and I wasn't really into it. They were all out, so I watched them all at the same time. I decided not to watch the fourth season, but then everyone online kept talking about it, so I watched it, and it was still dog shit. So, this show is a pretty cool isekai concept that I think they just completely wasted, and I don't understand why everyone loves it so much. Maybe the light novels are better, but I have no interest in reading 15, 20 books for a series that I don't like. So, as far as this goes, this will just be about the anime, which I think sucks balls. The general problems are that the main character is so overpowered that none of the fights are ever interesting. All of his minions literally just live to please him. Even when he's wrong, they still kiss his ass and tell him he's right somehow. All the build-ups for these little mini arcs that they have that are part of the bigger arc just completely fall flat. This, again, is mainly because he's so OP that every fight is just, it's over in like 2 seconds, and it's never really even a fight. It's just kind of going through the motions. Ainzul Gown is a complete psychopath repeatedly, not even like in an interesting way, like a character like Light from Death Note or Eren later on Attack on Titan or anything. He's just a complete psychopathic piece of shit. I mean, pretty much just borders on torture porn in some points. So, all right, I'm going to go through some more of the specifics now about why I think this show sucks ass. So go ahead and like and subscribe and all that shit. So, like I said, I think the show has a cool concept where this guy gets stuck in another world and he's undead. And the idea of that impacting his personality and him slowly becoming less human and a little bit crazier and trying to resist it, that's all really cool stuff that they could do. But instead, they just make him kind of a crazy asshole, and all of his minions are also crazy assholes who just want to kill everybody. I mean, another way that they could have gone with it is that he still kept his human personality and all his minions are evil, and he's trying to guide them in a way to minimize damage. And that would also be more interesting than what we're doing. They could have done something where they had a small group of humans in this world and they're all vying for power and all of their goals are world domination. That could have been interesting. Like a game of Risk in isekai form. Honestly, even if he was just less powerful, then all of the political navigation and the playing both sides as evil and an adventurer, because he has his alter ego who's an adventurer, Mamon or Mamon or whatever his fucking name is. That would all be interesting if he wasn't so overpowered, but instead it's just all pointless. So there's a lot of ways this show could have gone that I thought it might, and it just never did. Instead, he's pretty much a god, an evil god, and even when he fucks up, his minions rationalize it to where he's somehow super smart. So he's just kind of going through the motions. A few examples of this. During the first season, he's kind of awkward. And it's like, okay, maybe they're doing like a dark humor thing here. He's got Albedo who's crazy obsessed with him. He's like this awkward undead king now, and he's stuck there. And he wants to conquer the world. That's fine. And then they just piss it all away. So we have this shit with him dicking around in Karn Village and testing out his strength. And this is where he creates the adventurer persona. And all of this stuff is rendered pointless later on because he's so powerful that all of this is just a waste. The biggest struggle that he has so far in the show is when his own minion is brainwashed, when he fights Shalltear. That was like the only fight that ever seemed like he might lose or was even remotely in danger. And every other fight, he's like, oh, well, I just won't use my full power because I'm too powerful. So, you had this whole arc where he's Mamon and does essentially like a false flag operation where he fights off these demons and he's doing all this political shit behind the scenes and getting people to come to his side. And it's fucking pointless. In the first episode of season 2, we see a chick with a Rubik's Cube, and it kind of alludes to the fact that she might be human. Haven't seen her since. So all this building up that they do falls to nothing. Like at the end of season 3, he challenges the kingdom and goes to war with them. And this was building for like 3 seasons. And I was like, okay, we're going to see this huge undead versus humanity fight. You know, it should be pretty awesome. They've been building it for 3 seasons. And what happens? He casts one fucking spell, kills 100,000 people, and it's over. I mean, that's just a waste of everybody's fucking time. And what makes it even worse is that all of his minions even are untouchable, and he's way more powerful than all of them are. So, season 4 just ended. This is a minor spoiler if you haven't watched it, but it's been coming all season, so whatever. He destroyed the kingdom with like half a dozen people. So all of this political navigating and the behind the scenes shit and, you know, working with certain human factions, playing both sides as Mamone. They literally just walk into the kingdom and destroy it. So we waited 4 seasons for that. To see how all this shit was going to pay off. Spoiler, it fucking doesn't. Like, Coctilius, or whatever the fucking blue guy's name is, literally just walks through, putting ice everywhere, fights one of the strongest warriors they have, Brain, kills him in one fucking hit. He's never even in danger. And he's like one of the lesser minions for Ainzul Gown. So, this show has managed to waste so many fucking cool possibilities. They go meet these dwarves who are being attacked by the Quagoa, and Shaltir literally kills 60,000 of them by herself. Like, this shit is just boring. This is like playing a video game where you just can't fucking die. Like yeah, it might be fun for like 5 minutes because you're just killing everything. And then it's like, okay, well, there's no challenge here, so it's just a complete waste of my fucking time. So no one is ever really in danger, at least on his side. The only people who are ever in danger are all the humans that are all kind of pieces of shit anyway. And, you know, like this 4th season, they mentioned these dragons, and they kind of set up that he might have to fight these dragons. And when he runs into one, it cowers in fear and like pisses itself. It takes Ainz to his dad, and he instantly uses his grasp heart skill and fucking kills it. So again, like, how can you make a fight with fucking dragons be pointless and boring? And they found a way. Like, this grasp heart shit renders every fight just a complete waste of time. And all of this is made worse by the fact that he's brutal a lot just for the sake of being brutal. Like, at one point, he puts out a bounty for adventurers to raid his tomb, and then he kills and tortures all of them. With, like, crazy torture shit, too. Not even just, like, you know, waterboarding or whatever bullshit. Like, skinning them alive and fucking with their organs and stuff. It's, like, disgusting stuff. So, he's overpowered as fuck. He's completely unlikable. And even in season 4, these guys that he's about to fight betray their prince and behead him. And he orders them and all their families to be tortured to death. And he specifically says, even if they beg for death, don't let them die too quickly. So he's just sadistic for being sadistic's sake. Like, this isn't like some morally gray, interesting thing. He's a fucking piece of shit. And he repeatedly gives orders to just kill either everyone or like 90% of them. He doesn't accept surrender in this 4th season from anybody. And he's pretty much just a giant douchebag. His minions are fucking insane. And every time the humans come up, they just want to kill all of them. So there's no one who's even likable or who you can really root for. And the show's trying to do this weird thing where it's like kind of humorous. But then the other half of the show is fucking torture porn. So it's like any humor that you might have had has been completely fucking undermined by the fact that you're torturing people whenever you get a fucking chance to. And this show, I mentioned before, it does all these mini arcs that are supposed to be going toward the bigger arc. of him conquering the world. But a lot of these mini arcs, as soon as they're over, are just fucking abandoned. So season 1, we had Karn Village, his adventuring, and his fight with Shoutir. Season 2, we had the lizard people arc. They just don't come back. The drug rings, not really necessary. And then his false flag operation where he fights off the demons and they're all in disguise, also unnecessary. Season 3, we get this dicking around and his plot to get the adventurers to come to his tomb. And then we finally get to the war. Shit's over in 2 minutes. Season 4, we have him messing around with politics again and going to meet the dwarves and taking over the capital. I mean, he's so fucking powerful that this show could have started at the end of season 4 where he just takes the capital over. And we really wouldn't have missed much. All the politics are fucking nonsense and it's just filler. Like, the whole point of political maneuvering is in something like Game of Thrones, for instance, where everyone is on roughly equal footing. Even obviously, it's not perfectly equal as far as resources go. But the whole reason that they have politics is because you can't just stomp your enemies out with violence. But this story doesn't seem to understand that. He can literally trounce all of his fucking enemies whenever he wants. So all of that political stuff is just rendered completely pointless. And then the fact that a lot of it just disappears, or maybe you'll see the lizard man in the background, or he'll pop back into Karn Village just to say what's up. All of it just ends up being completely fucking useless. Like, it's not like he's slowly amassing this army and, you know, you're getting little pop-ins from each of them and they're each contributing to his kingdom. He just kind of conquers an area and then it's his and he fucking rolls out. So, like, there's no real need for trickery or political savvy or anything. Just existing for him pretty much makes him immortal. You know, if they wanted him to be like an anti-hero or like an interesting morally gray character, then they could have at least made him begrudgingly conquering the world for some larger purpose. Like I said before, to minimize the damage that his minions are going to do. He feels obligated to conquer the world, minimize death. That's at least an interesting idea. I mean, even Light in Death Note, at least he believes what he's doing is right. I mean, he's reducing crime, although he kills a bunch of innocent people too because he's a piece of shit and kind of a megalomaniac. He has something that he believes in that's right. I don't know why this fucking dude is just torturing people for fun. And in Death Note, Light is clearly portrayed as the bad guy. Ainz isn't really portrayed that way in this show. Like, he's doing bad things, but a lot of it's from his perspective. So he's not really framed as like this evil conquering force. It's like he's the awkward nerd who's supposed to be funny sometimes and is also sending people to get tortured to death. It makes no fucking sense. Even a show with an undead lead, like Skeleton Knight in Another World just came out. Well, the anime just came out a few months ago. You know, that guy is doing decent things and also trying to get rid of the curse on himself. So the fact that he's undead, there's a lot you can play with there. Like, if he had like this split personality where the human side of him was trying to save people and the undead side of him was trying to kill people, and then, you know, you could do the thing where almost like a werewolf or something where his undead side is killing people and then his human side is having to deal with the repercussions. Like, all of that stuff would be way more interesting than what we fucking got. So yeah, I'm not really sure what else there is to say. The main character is a fucking psycho. Any humorous moments are completely undermined by how sadistic all of the main characters are in Nazareth. Every character agrees with him even when he's wrong. He's so overpowered that no fight has been interesting and all the build-ups are just completely unnecessary. So they just completely fall flat on their fucking face. All the indirect bullshit and politics, again, just completely fucking unnecessary. And it makes it so boring. I mean, it's almost like watching American politics, where a bunch of politicians say shit and nothing gets done. The only difference is this guy has the ability just to say fuck all of you and then do what he wants anyway. And, you know, the idea of other players in the world being brought up was literally in the first scene of season 2. Been 3 full fucking seasons, they haven't come back. So, yeah, I'm kind of pissed off. the whole show has been a complete waste of my fucking time. I'm absolutely not watching season 5. I don't give a shit. I was pretty set on not watching 4 until people wouldn't stop talking about it, but I'm definitely fucking done with this show. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about Overlord. I mean, it's just terrible. I just don't understand it. I wonder if this is one of those things where people just like to envision themselves as being the overpowered guy who can just do what he wants because, you know, they're so sad in their own life or feel helpless in their own life or something. I don't fucking know. But I think next time I want to talk about something I actually like. So maybe I'll pick another light novel, or maybe I'll talk about the Tomodachi game manga since we still haven't gotten a season 2 announcement for that. And the show only made it through like 20 chapters of the 110 or whatever there are. So, or maybe I'll do a video on why Aaron Yeager wasn't wrong for the rumbling. We'll see. All right, thanks. See ya.